Good evening. We'll ask you to please take your seats. The ceremony will begin in a few moments. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Stacy McLeod. I'm the Associate Dean of the Honors College, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the University of Illinois Chicago Honors College Convocation. Today's music is provided by the UIC Brass Ensemble under the direction of Nick Carlson. This ceremony brings together members of the University of Illinois Chicago family, students, college administration, faculty and staff, relatives, alumni, and friends. Before we begin today's ceremony, to assure that everyone enjoys this meaningful event, would you please take a moment now to turn off or mute any electronic devices that may detract from the ceremony? Thank you. At this time, I present to you the administration of the University of Illinois Chicago and of the Honors College, followed by our distinguished faculty. you the Honors College class of 2023, led by Nayeli Ramirez, President of the 2022-2023 Honors College Advisory Board. able and join us in singing the national anthem, led by Frida Rivera. Gentlemen, please remove your caps. The words can be found in the back of your program. Thank you. Please be seated. In the spirit of building a better future and healing, I would like to take a few moments to acknowledge that UIC resides on the traditional territories of the three fire peoples, Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi. This area was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for more than a dozen other Native tribes. What's more, the state of Illinois is currently home to more than 75,000 tribal members, and the Chicagoland area is currently home to one of the largest and most diverse urban Native communities in the United States. We recognize that Indigenous peoples are the traditional stewards of the land that we now occupy, living here long before Chicago was a city, and still thriving here today. As we work together today on these territories and in the year ahead, we must remember our responsibility, especially as a land-grant and Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander serving institution, a Hispanic serving institution, and minority serving institution, to find ways to right the historic wrongs of colonization and state violence, and to build bridges with and support Indigenous communities' struggles for self-determination and sovereignty. At this time, please welcome Ralph Keene, Dean of the UIC Honors College and Professor of History, and the Schmidt Chair of Catholic Studies.
Welcome, soon-to-be graduates. I'm so glad to see you here at the Honors College Convocation, which is a formal celebration of your academic excellence and achievement and of your graduation. You are the 40th graduating class of the UIC Honors College. You are joining nearly 10,000 Honors College alumni who precede you and more than 1,500 James Scholars who preceded them. Welcome also to everyone who has supported you, family, friends, faculty, staff, and administrators. To all the alumni who are here with us tonight, welcome home. I would now like to introduce the distinguished members of our platform party, Executive Vice President Nicholas Jones, Provost Karen Colley, Vice Chancellor Joanna Groden, Vice Provost Nikos Varelis, Student Trustee Mohammed Haq, and representing the Graduate College Associate Dean, Laura Junker. I would like to extend to each of you a special welcome and thank you. We greatly appreciate your support of the Honors College, its students, and all that they achieve at UIC. Would all the faculty of the Honors College please rise as you are able? More, more than 600 UIC professors serve as UIC Honors College Faculty Fellows, more than ever before. They execute the college's mission by setting rigorous academic standards, creating and teaching honors courses, and mentoring students. The banners that you see behind me represent all of UIC's colleges because UIC Honors College students and faculty fellows have academic homes in all of these colleges across all disciplines found on our campus. Thank you for everything that you have done for our students. Now would all the staff members, administrators, advisors, and other members of the UIC Honors community please rise? Thank you. Thank you for supporting the Honors College and its students. You may be seated. I'd now like to ask all the families and guests of the graduates to please rise if you are able and to be recognized. Thank you. Thank you for trusting us with your students. You should be very proud. And last but not least, graduates, please stand if you are able and remain standing. I am very proud to present the graduates of the UIC Honors College class of 2023. Each of you has successfully completed the requirements of the UIC Honors College. The gold stoles you will receive today signify your commitment to academic excellence, service, and leadership. You are true scholars and true leaders. Please join me again in a round of applause for these graduates. You may be seated. These are among the most impressive scholars ever to graduate from the University of Illinois Chicago, or any university for that matter. They have high GPAs reflecting years of hard work in their classes. They're also accomplished researchers, having completed senior capstone projects and theses that they have presented publicly. They engage in meaningful service activities, and they excel in the fine arts. They are also leaders on campus and in the Honors College in student organizations such as the Society for Future Physicians, Peer Health Exchange, and the Honors College Advisory Board known as HCAB. In recognition of this partnership, Nayeli Ramirez, the graduating president of HCAB, carried the Honors College banner a few moments ago. Sorry. At this time, I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Karen Colley, our acting provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs. Dr. Colley has served as UIC's acting provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs since June 2022, her second time acting in this capacity. She has also served as the dean of the Graduate College since 2012. As a professor of biochemistry and molecular genetics in the College of Medicine, Dr. Colley also serves as the director of the Portal to Biomedical Research Careers Post-Baccalaureate Research Education Program, the Pipeline to an Inclusive Faculty Program, and as the editor-in-chief of the journal Glycobiology. Since joining UIC in 1991, she has been recognized as a university scholar, co-founded and led the first umbrella graduate program at UIC, and served as the associate director of the Medical Scientist Training Program. Dr. Colley received her bachelor's degree in chemistry from Duke University and her PhD in biochemistry from Washington University, St. Louis, and later continued her training in cell and molecular biology as an NIH-funded postdoctoral fellow at UCLA. It is wonderful that she is here tonight to see all of you off as you embark on the next chapter of your careers and lives. Welcome, Provost Colley.
It's great to see everybody. Wow, what a crowd. And thank you, Dean Keen. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Spring 2023 Honors College Convocation. I'm so happy to be with you to celebrate all that these incredible students have accomplished. To start, I would like to take a few moments to recognize a few of the individuals and groups here with us tonight. First, I want to extend a very warm welcome to our guest speakers. First, Dr. Allison Arwady, Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Public Health, who will provide tonight's keynote address. Dr. Arwady, I want to thank you personally for all you've done for Chicago during the pandemic and beyond. You are a rock star. Thank you. I also want to welcome our alumni speaker, Dr. Astrid Herard. Thank you for your part in making tonight a memorable one for the class of 2023. Did she wait? There she is. I would also like to welcome and thank Dr. Nicholas Jones, Executive Vice President and Vice President for Academic Affairs of the University of Illinois System, for joining us this evening. Next, I want to thank and acknowledge all the mentors with us here tonight. These include Honors College leadership, staff, and faculty fellows who've tirelessly supported and believed in this graduating class over the last several years. Many thanks and congratulations to each one of you for your work and dedication to the class of 2023. Tonight, of course, would not be possible without the friends, families, partners, and community members who have cared for these graduates during their greatest challenges and celebrated their successes along the way. Your love and support have made each of their success stories possible. Now, the reason we're here tonight, congratulations to our Honors College graduating class of 2023. One more round of applause. As an Honors College graduate, you should savor this special moment, and you should be extremely proud of your accomplishments. Each of you was handpicked to join the Honors College because of your intelligence, unyielding curiosity, and unparalleled drive. And over the last several years, you have lived up to and exceeded the expectations of what it means to be a member of the Honors College. As honors students in an increasingly complex and rapidly changing world, whose time as undergraduates was disrupted by COVID-19, you persevered and excelled. And I want you to realize that this was a remarkable accomplishment in and of itself. Each of your lives during your time at UIC has been exceptionally full, not just as students, but as published researchers and members of labs conducting groundbreaking research, as leaders in your student organizations, as participants in internships throughout the city, state, and sometimes beyond, as volunteers in your community, and as athletes and artists in and around our campus. And somehow, some of you even managed to juggle additional responsibilities as employees, caregivers, parents, partners, and community leaders. Honors College graduates, you are remarkable. I'm going to brag a little bit more than Ralph did about this stellar graduating class. This Honors College class has an outstanding average GPA of 3.78. Nearly 90% of the class will be receiving one of 3 university Latin honors, cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. In the coming year, almost half of these graduates will go on to continue their education and training at graduate and professional schools at outstanding institutions like Carnegie Mellon, NYU, the University of Southern California, Yale, Northwestern, University of Chicago, Columbia, Harvard, Boston University, and other schools of the UI system, including UIC. Almost half of the entire 2023 honors graduating class plans to enroll in healthcare-related professional programs, with plans to become a member of the next generation of our healthcare workforce. And almost 40% will join the workforce as full-time employees next year, representing the best young professionals that UIC has to offer and laying the foundation for their own successful careers. Still, others will take a gap year, and to those, I encourage you to make the most of your time. Keep your curiosity alive, stay engaged, use the time to explore, and consider all the possibilities and applications that exist for you and your unique skill set. It is obvious, regardless of your next steps, that you represent the next generation of leaders, scholars, and innovators, and that our future is in very, very good hands. But, graduates, you are not done yet. So over the course of the coming week, I have a final assignment for you. And that is to participate in and enjoy the commencement ceremonies for each of your academic colleges. Have a lot of fun. Keep the party going. And not only will you represent the Honors College by way of the gold stoles you'll receive today, your time as an undergraduate will also come officially to an end. And you'll mark the start of a new chapter in your life. As with the start of anything new, you're likely to be filled with great excitement and equal amounts of uncertainty. But just like your first days at UIC, soon you will once again learn to grow and thrive in new surroundings, and this time with one key difference. From this point forward, whatever challenges you must face, you will do so well-equipped and with new tools. With the wisdom, lessons learned, skills honed, and networks of support that you have forged at your time in the Honors College and at UIC. So I challenge you not only to care for and make use of these tools well and often, as they will be the keys to your success and the success of those around you, but to use them to seize the endless opportunities before you and to keep growing and keep learning. To transform the world in the service of those around you, and in the words of a popular TV, football, or for some soccer coach, be curious, not judgmental, for that is what UIC has taught you. So once again, congratulations to our graduates and best wishes to you and your families.
Thank you, Provost Colley. It is now my great pleasure to introduce you to tonight's keynote speaker, Dr. Allison Arwady. Dr. Arwady is the Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Public Health, CDPH, charged with leading the nation's third largest city's health department. Dr. Arwady has been at CDPH since 2015, where she initially served as Chief Medical Officer, overseeing the disease control, environmental health, emergency preparedness, and behavioral health divisions before being confirmed as Commissioner in January 2020. Prior to CPDH, she worked for the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, including as an Epidemic Intelligence Service Officer. With CDC, she worked on HIV and tuberculosis in Botswana and international outbreak responses for Middle East respiratory syndrome in Saudi Arabia and for Ebola in Liberia. While based at the Illinois Department of Public Health, she responded to disease outbreaks across the state. She has a bachelor's degree from Harvard University, a master's degree in public health from Columbia University, and completed medical school and clinical training at Yale University. Dr. Arwady is a board-certified internal medicine physician and pediatrician, a member of the American College of Physicians, and continues to see primary care patients regularly. We are honored to welcome Dr. Arwady to UIC and to the Honors College.
Thank you so much, Dean Keen. It's such a pleasure and honor to be with you. I want to start just by saying congratulations again to staff, faculty, parents, families, friends, and especially the graduates. I was debating whether or not to bring the C word, COVID, into this really joyous occasion. I gave a talk to a medical audience this morning, and they told me I could talk about anything I wanted except COVID. And trust me, I get it. I am as happy as anyone in Chicago that, frankly, the last 3.5 years, that portion of it anyway, are behind us. But then I thought a little bit more. Part of the mission statement of the UIC Honors College is to, quote, provide a foundation for lifelong learning in the dynamic urban environment that is the great city of Chicago. And if you think about that from a COVID perspective, at its best, college is about preparedness. It is about preparing students for the larger world, really challenging you to think beyond the classroom questions and answers, and really to start working on community questions and answers. I know that a lot of you were part of this city's COVID response in all kinds of ways, and I want to thank you and your families for your part in getting our city through. I also know from looking at the range of topics that you each tackled in your capstone research projects that UIC has given you that foundational preparedness. But to be honest, I think being a student during COVID-19 probably helped with your preparedness too, even though I know it is not a class that any of you signed up for. You've gone through college during such a period of dynamic change and disruption in the life of this city. I know that each of you and your families have been changed with this city. Preparedness is a complicated word these days in the field of public health. I'm often asked my opinion about whether Chicago or the US is better prepared for the next public health crisis. And undoubtedly the answer is yes, but I worry that we are thinking too narrowly. Preparedness is not just about whether you have stockpiles and supply chains. It's not just about whether you have plans and exercises. It is about people. It is about whether you have built the relationships, the ability to work together across silos and differences, whether you've built the trust before a crisis hits. And I know that in this work of the last years, you each have had opportunities to work across silos, to talk to people with very different opinions, to build those bridges that we're going to need long term. In its vision statement, the UIC Honors College also sets a goal, think of this from a COVID perspective, of fostering transformative academic and personal development, innovation and tenacity, and the pursuit of a just society through leadership within a global city. When I think of you all pivoting to take classes from your bedrooms and your basements, needing to transform your plans, your goals, you needed that tenacity. You also knew in a theoretical sense, maybe, that Chicago was a global city and one that was not always just. But the pandemic has made that clear. And I know, we all know, that it is not just enough to solve problems in our little corner of the world when we are also interconnected. You may have heard me say that I think outbreaks always hold up a mirror to society. They show us where the cracks are. Where are we failing in the ways that we relate to the environment or we relate to each other? And in many ways, though I'm exceptionally proud of the way Chicago came through COVID, I think we had a lot of failures as a society. I hope that each of you, in whatever you do next, work on some of those failures. Work on the ways that injustices and inequities showed up loud and clear in this city and in every city across the US. So what's next for all of you? Hard as it might be for you to imagine, I don't remember my college grades. I don't remember my GPA or my GRE or my MCAT scores, but I do remember the opportunities that I had at your stage to put those classroom concepts into practice. I remember the stress of those capstone projects, but also the feeling of accomplishment in developing your own questions, doing your own research, working on internships and volunteer settings that perhaps were different than anything you imagined when you started at UIC. And being in college during COVID has undoubtedly made you more flexible and more adaptable. You also, I think, are more open about health and mental health and our society's failures of connection than any generation before. This pandemic opened a lot of needed conversations, I think, about mental health and substance use and interconnectedness and loneliness. And a lot of that conversation has been driven by students, peers your age and younger. I want to thank you for continuing to push on this issue, and please help us continue to work as a society on the stigma that still is associated. Mental health is health, and you all have been really important voices in making that known here in Chicago. I hope you trust the preparedness you've gained at UIC, and I hope that you trust that your paths may not always be as straight as you imagine them to be right now. I loved hearing that a lot of you are going on to full-time employment, you're heading to graduate school, or you're taking a gap year. I was especially pleased to hear that so many of you are planning to pursue health-related programs and careers. I say welcome, and we need you, so thank you for that. But I do want to also give a special note to those of you who are taking a gap year. I had no idea what my life's work would be when I graduated from college. I didn't even really know that public health was a field. I ended up taking 5 years between when I graduated from college and when I started medical school. And yes, parents, I worked and supported myself that whole time. But I did a range of things. I updated travel guides. I did some substitute teaching. I temped. I worked on a field biology project. I had office jobs, a technician job in a hospital. I did some research. And through it all, I kept exploring, taking classes, learning, and it was in that time that I discovered the field of public health, and I discovered what I truly believe I am on this earth to work on. And so no matter what you do, no matter what path you take there, I hope that you build a good life for yourself, whatever that looks like for you. But I also challenge you to take some of these lessons of being COVID-era graduates and put some of your energy into your communities, into connecting with people you don't know and who may not agree with you. As we face the end of the public health emergency next week, our country is graduating to the next phase of COVID, just as you're graduating to the next phase of your life. And I am proud that for the most part here in this city, we have managed to see COVID as the enemy rather than each other. It is hard to measure these last few years in statistics. I'm proud of the 5,819,440 and counting COVID vaccines that we have administered. They have saved countless lives. I also carry at a heavy level with me, as I know many of you do, the 8,128 Chicagoans and counting who have lost their lives to COVID-19. There are disparities rooted in race and place in this complicated and wonderful city that we call home, and there is work to do. Finally, on a personal level, I have honestly spent nearly every day of the last 3.5 years worrying about Chicago and about Chicagoans on a really, really visceral level as I've tried to work with partners and my team to steer CDPH and Chicago through really wrenching decisions. And to be honest, I worried about older Chicagoans for the COVID outcomes, the health outcomes, making sure that folks are up to date with vaccines, getting the medications that are available. But in some ways, I've worried as much or more about the indirect impacts of COVID on people like our graduates, on students and young people, from pre-kindergartners all the way up to honors college students who face so much disruption in education, which after all is what sets people in the direction of their lives. And so days like today are really meaningful for me, because when I hear about what you all are doing next and everything you've already achieved, I know that I do not need to worry about any of you, and your families don't either. I've learned during COVID to couch a lot of what I say in the phrase, based on what we know now, because so much continued to change as we learned more about the virus. But based on what I know now about this class and what you've already done, I am so excited to see what you all do next. Please make sure you thank your professors and your staff, your friends and your families, and take that adaptable, public-minded spirit that you've had to cultivate along with your academics, in part because of COVID. We need you working on the big problems. We need you continuing to invest in relationships. And then finally, in the words of that vision statement, we need you to help pursue a just society through leadership within a global city. I hope many of you continue to stay and make Chicago, in my opinion, the best city in the U.S. Congratulations once again to all of you. We're all rooting for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arwady, for a wonderful message. We appreciate your time with us here tonight. Now I welcome to the podium Michelle McCrillis, Assistant Dean for Curriculum and Outreach Programs for the Honors College. She will present this year's Faculty Awards.
Honors College Faculty Fellows are UIC faculty members who are individually assigned to provide personalized advising and mentoring to students from the sophomore year on. Each year, Honors College students nominate outstanding faculty fellows to be honored as the Honors College Fellow of the Year. This year's awardee is Marcia F. Cassidy, Senior Lecturer from the Department of English in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Dr. Cassidy was nominated by Ahana Gupta. In her nomination, Ahana, who majors in biological sciences, writes how Dr. Cassidy's support gave her confidence in her ability to explore the intersection of English and medicine. Ahana writes, "English and biology were no longer two spheres of my academic interests that I didn't know how to unite. Dr. Cassidy described to me not only the logistics of how these spheres could fit together, but was always willing to discuss the experiences of other students she'd mentored who decided upon a similar path." Please join me in congratulating and thanking Dr. Marcia Cassidy for her dedication and the honor of being named the Fellow of the Year. Next, I am pleased to announce the Honors College Instructor of the Year Award. This recognition is given annually to a member of the faculty who teaches our first-year honors core courses, as well as our honors seminars for upper division students. This year, the recipient is L. Bao Bui, visiting lecturer from the Department of History in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Dr. Bui has developed and taught several courses for the Honors College, including Honors 201 seminars on the politics of food and on women, society, and COVID-19. His Honors Core course, Jane Austen and Nostalgia, instills a literary and critical appreciation for Austen's novels and how their numerous film, television, and stage adaptations help shape how we approach the past. One nominator, Rianka Ahano, writes of taking this course, "I've regained my love for reading as a pastime, and my personal perception of romance and relationships has been changed after our discussions and readings from Jane Austen's novels and other materials. Simply put, Dr. Bui's passion positively impacts everyone that he teaches." Please join me in congratulating Bao Bui for the honor of being named Honors College Instructor of the Year. Lastly, it is my pleasure to announce the winner of the Honors College Capstone Supervisor of the Year Award. This recognition is given annually to one of the many faculty members who guide our students' senior capstone projects. This year's Capstone Supervisor of the Year is Unsal Ozdogru, Clinical Associate Professor and Director of the Undergraduate Studies in the Department of Information and Decision Sciences from the College of Business. In nominating Dr. Ozdogru, Pele Strandberg writes, "During my capstone project, Dr. Ozdogru provided exceptional leadership guiding me through difficulties and challenging times. Not only did she provide help and guidance, but she also made sure to provide new insight and a focus on innovations and research projects that would give me a chance to stand out to employers and recruiters. Dr. Ozdogru has an amazing capability of spreading a proactive, positive, and hard-working mindset. Please join me in congratulating and thanking Dr. Ozdogru for her guidance and the honor of being named the Honors College Capstone Supervisor of the Year."
Thank you, Dean McCrillis, and congratulations, Professor Cassidy, Professor Bui, and Professor Ozdogru. Very well deserved. Next, we will recognize each and every member of this year's graduating class, one by one, presenting each with an Honors College certificate and gold stole. We ask that you approach the stage in alphabetical order, with the exception of a few students who we will recognize first. Your name recording will play as you cross the stage. Please be sure you have your grad pass with you. In the event of a technical difficulty, your name will be read by Assistant Dean David Boyd. Please be patient to ensure that all graduates have the best experience possible. Dean Keen will present each of you with a certificate of achievement, and I will present you with your gold stole. Graduates, please refrain from wearing your gold stole around your neck until all of the graduates have been recognized, though you may wear it for the photo opportunity over along the wall. After you have crossed the stage, please return to your seat and remain seated for the remainder of the ceremony. And last, please hold your applause until all of the students have been named. We'll ask that the first row of the section in front of me, row 1A, please approach the platform.
Clarissa D. Gomez. Spencer B. Huynh.
Nayeli Ramirez.
Isra Moeen Fikri.
Astrid Perez.
Anushe Amr. Janessa Yesalin Acosta. Ibrahim Adeshola Adebayo. Hanan Nair Ahmed. Alia Hayal Akersheda. Asma Ali. Nora H. Al-Sadi. Mandy J. Alstead. Kareem Al-Zain. Christine U. Amadi. Arlene Tiffany Amaya. Adare Ambikumar. Rushika Tejas Amin. Evelyn Andrada. William J. Angelakos. Marlene Suzette Angulo. Stephen Tuchuku Anyawu. Jumobi Arowolo. Corazon de Jesus Avila. Sophia M. Aziz. Olalikan Samuel Babalola. Ramses de Jesus Baez Tejeda.
Zafra Bangish.
Jaden Bauer. Zahra Tuljena Bennett. Hallie H. Bergen. Pratibha Bala. Shruti A. Baratia. Hannah A. Bielik. Kristen S. Blake. Roman Bodnarchuk. Lolade Kofo Warola Bolarinwa. Jimmy Bowie. Mary E. Burrell.
Mariam Rohali Mizagir Butler.
Leonardo D. Calderon. Madeline Alyssa Cardona. Allison M. Carmody. Danielle Enrique Carrion. Joseph Francis Carroll. Rihanna Chaco. Carlos Andres Chacon Cordon. Hermione Georgina Chadwick. Nitya Chagur. Anita C. Chowry. Guadalupe Chavez. Ethan E. Check. Nidhi Chathan. Shelley G. Constantino. Karina C. Choksey. Juana Cordova. Destiny Joy Crookshank. Jamie Ray Rhonda Cortero. Isaac Cirilla. Margarita de Alba. Sam De La Rosa. Micaela Delgado. Tamana A. Dore. Sheva P. Diani. Lauren A. Dimayuga. Caroline Marie DeBose. Shreya V. Doshi. Kelly A. Duong. Reem I. Ethan. Husseina M. Electric Walla. Gracia D. Espinoza. Hannah Jane D. Evangelista. Sidra A. Faruqi. Iram Fatima. Carolina Agnieszka Ferens. Mackenzie Noel Folkers. Gabriela Gallego Hernandez. Michelle Ganzorig. Joshua Mackenzie Gassman. Paul Bogdan Gavrilovich. Julie Victoria Gawenda. John H. Geary. Faith Jane George. Jessica Kaur Gai. Yassine Abdul Ghani. Akshaya Goda. Chloe N. Gomez. Ray Gordiano. Claudia L. Gorel. Harshdeep K. Graywall. Ahana Gupta. Himangi Gupta. Diego Guzman. Saja I. Hamad. Sarah Hamayel. Rihanna A. Hamad. Ian R. Hammond. Zainab S. Haveliwala. Nina Vivian Henry. Megan Samuel Herrera. Amanda M. Hines. Iona Huang. Jensen Suzanne Hussey. Huyn Kong Huyn. Yomna Ahmed Ibrahim. Saja M. Mahmood. Artistea Inchan. Pauletta Mariana Ioannidis. Ryan Stewart Jerger. Lizette Grace C. Jose. Anshul Kakanur. Sai Rahul Raju Karkalapudi. Julie Kang. Melita Karaich. Kayan Khartoum. Simrandeep Kaur. Priyanka Kaushal. Alina Khan. Hutaifa B. Khan. Ikram Khan. Khadija M. Khan. Rimla Khan. Safi Yusuf Khan. Sania Fatima Khan. Zainab Fatima Han. Salam A. Cater. E.I.M. Kin. Anam Kidwai. Yunsa Kim. Shruti Krishna. Cassandra Elizabeth Queasy. Berenica Camila Locke. Ga Yon Lee. Ji-Won Lee. Joshua S. Lee. Amber M. Lewis. Angela Beatrice Warren Lachauco. Tala Faraz Lukiana. Elizabeth Lopez. Jasmine J. Lopez. Lynette M. Lopez. Lillian Taylor Loziak. Samuel Justin Luna.
Dominika Malgorzata Maklowska. Shreya Magesh. Laiba Mahmood. Tuin Mai. Simran Mal. Agnes Maria Manish. Janavi Manet. Harini V. Marchadi. Mustafa Masood. Jamie G. Matthew. Imani M. McDonald. Nathan Patrick McLaughlin. Jorge Jesus Mendez. David Ruperto Meraz. Jennifer Kayla Meza. Watsal Modi.
Parth Aurora.
Mariah Julissa Morales. Travis Perez Morales. Madeline Dahi Munn. Elizabeth R. Murphy. Aitana Janine Balbosa Nadala. Preeti Navalpakam. Kiana Angelina Negron. Ya Hung Ngo. Kan Dui Nguyen. Tom Wynn. Fatima R. Nomani. Annie Nantarash. Malik Ashraf Nusayrat. Amanda Ezine Wokeje. Raneen I. Obedala. Chiamaka Chimdalu Obwefi II. Dwayne Maduaboa Chukwu Okoma. Timothy Patrick O'Loughlin. Anthony Miguel Olivaria. Sabrina A. Olivares. Catherine Elise O'Reilly. Alexander J. Orlowski. Ryan Hunjin Park. Ankit S. Patel. Deep Suresh Patel. Dia Patel. Jill A. Patel. Krupa J. Patel. Mernali D. Patel. Stuti S. Patel. Naisargi Jignesh Pathak. Angie M. Perez. Towin Pham. Kim Tien Phan. V. Phan. Anna Valerie Pervu. Jorge Ignacio Plaza Gonzalez. Melanie Joy Pereza Intude. Liane A. Qasim. Noura Katanani. Yara Mustafa Quad. Sara Rajapkar. Naomi Rajesh. Sebastian T. Rechek. Megan de Guzman Resuelo. Mackenzie Rose Ringer. Lucero Rojas Torres. Amber Alejandra Casas Rosales. Sophia Rizek. Marwa Sahlul. Haifa Hope Sauri. Anil S. Sani. Kevin Salinas. Alicia Samad. Yael Sanchez. Shama Z. Seribu. Nicole J. Sherrick. Jose Armando Serrano. Bhuvni Bhavesh Shah. Krishna R. Shah. Maitri Pranav Shah. Riva Shah. Atika Ashfaq Sheikh. Miles Patrick Shamo. Syed Benam Mahmoud Shamsaddin. Faiza F. Sharif. Pratika Sharma. Rami Shika. Michelle C. Sia. Saskia Brittany Simarankir. Noel Sioni. Leah Maria Skufos. Melody A. Slaughter. Elizabeth Joy Titilayo Shodimu. Temi Lolua Ioolua Shodipe. Godemi Sonariker. Carolina Soto. Bianca Staknik. Diana Lizette Stancio. Julia D. Starzhitska. Jamaria Amaral Stewart. Pelle Strandberg. Vana Sunbully.
Autumn N. Blackman Swanson.
Theodore Alexei Padura Tam. Austin Yuhua Tan. Akira Jade Tanton. Andres Javier Tapia. Usna Tausif. Mary Ashley Tenador. Drumil Jagdish Thakur. Krishna Parag Thakur. Hannah L. Thiel. Danya M. Thnybat. Victoria C. Thor. Tala N. Tinfang. David Ryan Chu. Devika Tiwari. Bao Tuan Tran. Hannah Tran. Nguyen Phuong Train. Sahil Venkat Satyasai Triparana. Ismihan Almasa Udin. Blerda Useini. Cade M. Valero. Nipun Kumar Velupali. Shruti Vandana Vijayakumar. Sneha Vandana Vijayakumar. Siklali Villalobos. Matthew Villalan. Chandana Voletti. Alexandra S. Vorabiova. Isabella Marie Vrapchu. Christopher A. Vu. Jing Wang. Faiza Wakar. Christy A. Weissel. Kaylin Danail Whitehead. Connor S. Wilgos. Jessica Wong. Ryo Tin Wong. Anurag Reddy Yarabotula. Michael S. Yonker. Raneem Yunus. Trent Youngjun Yu. Jenna Saka Yusuf. Ayan A. Zafar. Yona A. Zaidi. Jasmine Juane Zamora. Christian Zavala. Shadia S. Zabedi. Ashi N. Zhao. Ryan Kevin Zomarodi.
All right, everybody, let's give them a great round of applause. Congratulations.
Class of 2023, you have been individually recognized and received your Honors College certificate and your Honors Gold Stole. The Gold Stole is a visible symbol of all that you have accomplished while a UIC Honors College student. You are invited to wear this stole at your college commencement ceremonies. At this time, I invite you to stand up and turn and face your family, friend, loved ones, and all of your supporters, and place your gold stole around your neck. Congratulations once again. You may be seated. You may be seated. Thank you. Congratulations once again. I now invite to the podium Assistant Dean Catherine Burns Howard, who will present the Donald and Leah Riddle Prize.
The Donald and Leah Riddle Prize, which was endowed by late former Chancellor Riddle and his wife, is the top honor given to a UIC graduating senior campus-wide each year. It recognizes both academic achievement and leadership. This year's recipient is Spencer Huynh, who will graduate summa cum laude with a bachelor degree in biological sciences and minor in moving image arts. Spencer epitomizes an honors student with an extensive record of academic excellence, research, leadership, and service. During his time at UIC, he has been a research assistant in the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology for Dr. Simon Alford, where he investigates pathways that mediate neurotransmitter release into the neurological synapse. He has presented his findings at the Chicago Society for Neuroscience for 3 consecutive years, and has received several grants through the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Undergraduate Research Initiative and the Honors College to support his work. Spencer has served as the co-coordinator of TEDx U of I Chicago since his first year at UIC. In this role, he's planned large annual events to bring together diverse voices that showcase ideas worth spreading to the UIC community. He's also been a longtime UI hospital health volunteer. As a licensed EMT, Spencer works with a local hospital emergency room as a member of the medical team in providing appropriate care for patients. Spencer's a member of Phi Beta Kappa and has received the Wencher Memorial Award and the Mark Wyatt Memorial Scholarship. After UIC, Spencer will begin training as a physician scientist through the Weill Cornell Rockefeller Sloan Kettering Tri-Institutional MD-PhD program, say that 3 times quickly, where he will be fully funded through an NIH training grant. Please help me recognize this year's Riddle Prize recipient, Spencer Huynh. And each year, our graduating seniors compete to give the senior address at tonight's event. This year's selected speaker is Clarissa Gomez, who will graduate summa cum laude with a degree in mathematics and minor in biological science. Clarissa has been an active researcher with the Nobel Lab since her first year at UIC. Her research experience culminates in her capstone titled Exploring the Extracellular Matrix for Cancer Biomarker Discovery, which has been published in the Journal of Histochemistry and Cytochemistry. among other publications. Her research has been funded by grants from both the Honors College and the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. As a student leader, Clarissa served as president of the Pre-Health Mentor Network and is last year's co-president of the Honors College Advisory Board. This year, she led UIC's Sparkathon Dance Marathon, which raised over $5,000 for the UI Health Childhood Cancer Survivorship Clinic. For her service and leadership, Clarissa has been recognized with the Chancellor's Student Service Award, and Clarissa is also a member of Phi Beta Kappa. After graduation, Clarissa will take a gap year to teach English in Japan through the JET program. Upon her return to the US, she will begin her medical studies at Northwestern University's Feinberg College of Medicine. It is indeed an honor to introduce tonight's student speaker, Clarissa Gomez.
Thank you, Dean Burns-Howard, for the very kind introduction. And congratulations, everyone, we've made it. Everyone sitting here has worked so hard towards this very moment. We did countless activities, wrote and presented our capstones, and earned sky-high GPAs. Beyond what we've accomplished, being here today reflects who we are. Graduating from the Honors College represents a deep commitment to going above and beyond, and the people I've met here are some of the most driven, curious, hardworking individuals I've ever encountered. I hope you are all taking pride, not just in this massive accomplishment, but also in the person you've become. I can't overstate how grateful I am to be a part of this community that made the daunting college experience a little bit more approachable, and to have met my lifelong friends here. Anyone who has met me even once has probably heard me go on about being a math major. One of the things I love about math is how certain it is. 1 + 1 is always 2. Thinking back on our college experience and what uniquely defines the class of 2023, I'm struck in contrast by how uncertain the last few years have been. I floundered my way through my first fall, was personally victimized by general chemistry, and just when I thought I had a handle on things, spring break started a week early and didn't end for 2 years. And yet, somehow, we're all still here, despite living through an unprecedented challenge. Not only that, but I've seen my classmates create amazing things from scratch. A successful blood drive, networks of mentorship, and publications uplifting student voices, just to name a few. We became volunteers, tutors, and even first responders while continuing to be students. What that tells me is that everyone in this room is prepared to take on whatever daunting challenges and lofty goals the future might bring. Because of the past several years, we're resilient and creative. And whatever we may be pursuing after walking across the stage today, not just our diplomas, but also our resilience and drive will always remain. I've had the absolute pleasure of being heavily involved in the Honors College as an HCAB member, former HCAB co-president, and Honors Ambassador. Behind the impressive individual qualities and successes of UIC's Honors College students also lies what I believe is the most important asset of the Honors College: community. Every day, I see people assembling at Burnham Hall to meet their friends, attend social events, and meet with their trusted advisors. Being surrounded by a community of people that cared about us and drove us to become better people wasn't something we had to look for, it was built in. I hope that, with kindness and courage, we continue to seek out these communities and build them where they do not exist. Finally, I hope that, reflecting on your college experience, you not only take well-deserved pride in your hard work, but also express gratitude for the people who helped you along the way. Today, I am so grateful for the support of my parents and sibling, who have always done everything to support me in my dreams, my friends, who are there for me when the day-to-day gets tough, and the instructors and advisors, like my HCAB advisor and capstone supervisor, who have supported not only my learning, but my personal and professional growth. As we move on towards the next stage of our lives, I hope that you spend time with, and thank, and hug all of the people who have helped you get to this point and who will continue to support you in your bright future. Thank you, and once again, congratulations, class of 2023.
Thank you, Clarissa. I am David Boyd, Assistant Dean for Recruitment and Admissions here at the UIC Honors College. I have the pleasure to welcome Dr. Astrid Herard to offer a few words of advice on behalf of our 10,000 Honors College alumni. Dr. Herard is a 2000 Honors College graduate, having earned a BA in Liberal Arts and Sciences with honors. She earned an MD from the University of Illinois at Rockford in 2005 and completed general psychiatry residency and child and adolescent psychiatry fellowship at the University of Chicago in 2010. Dr. Herard is a board-certified adult, adolescent, and child psychiatrist at Array Behavioral Care based in Mount Laurel Township, New Jersey, and Chicago, Illinois. Passionate especially about children's mental health, she provides telepsychiatry services to youth between the ages of 5 to 21 years old. Now, when she is not at work, you can find Dr. Herard curled up with a book at home in Tinley Park, playing the piano, hosting a solo dance party, or enjoying time with her husband, who typically declines said dance parties. Other favorite pastimes include spending time with extended family and friends, and inadvertently spending more time researching what to watch on Netflix than actually watching it. We are proud to welcome such an accomplished alumnus and my friend, Dr. Astrid Herard.
Thank you, David, for that lovely introduction. Graduates of the class of 2023, families, friends, faculty, and mentors, congratulations to you all. I feel honored to have been invited to speak to you tonight and would like to be among the first to welcome you to a top secret society, the existence of which is classified by our government. It is the University of Illinois at Chicago Honors College Alumni Family. Welcome, guys. And please keep that secret. So as you guys already heard, my name is Dr. Astrid Herard. I graduated from this honors college and the GPPA in December 2000, which sounds like a really long time ago when I say that out loud. It sounds worse coming from me than it did from Dr. Boyd. From undergrad, as you guys already heard, I went on to earn my MD at the University of Illinois Rockford, and then trained in general as well as child and adolescent psychiatry at the University of Chicago. Since 2010, I have provided psychiatric care to people in hospitals and in outpatient settings, and I now practice telepsychiatry at Array Behavioral Care. Telepsychiatry is something I never found myself doing, but just like everyone here, we all had to adjust rapidly to the pandemic and the mitigation measures. In preparing to speak to you today, I dug a little into the history of the program that helped shape us into who we are and who we have yet to become. I learned that the University of Illinois Board of Trustees approved the creation of this honors college in November 1982. So the college is 40 and a half, we must not forget the half, years old. Our college has graduated over 10,000 students and counting since its inception. I look fondly upon memories of my time here at the Honors College. Many of these experiences stimulated a passion for lifelong learning that for me started early in life. Here at UIC, I enjoyed exciting discussions about life and academics with Dr. Lancine Kaba, who was Dean of the Honors College while I was here. I spent copious amounts of time reading, whether for class or fun, in the Commons West dorms, the Student Union, now known as Student Center East, and on the CTA Blue and Red lines. I studied mystifying books and topics in classes that I still bring up in conversation today. Immersed myself in learning about the various cultures of fellow residents of Honors College housing, taught them about my own Haitian American culture, lightheartedly argued with them about who had last borrowed my Mariah Carey CDs. We still had CDs back then. Needless to say, I formed lifelong friendships with many of my peers, as I know many of you have started to do amongst yourselves. As we know, among the values that our college encouraged and helped us cultivate are service, volunteering, diversity, equality, personal development, leadership, and lifelong curiosity and learning. These are values that I've strived to carry through my personal life and profession. A large part of why I chose to work with our community's youngest people is that I'm passionate about helping them to fulfill their mental health needs. I'm equally passionate about being among those who expose young people to the wide world of exciting knowledge that awaits them. And I'm equally really happy for all of you, and I'm very happy to hear that about half of you have chosen to go into healthcare careers. Like Dr. Arwady said a while back, we definitely need you. Please join us. In fact, the word doctor originates from the Latin word for teacher. I carry that concept in my work daily, always willing to teach my patients and their families. In exchange, I enjoy learning from them as well as numerous other sources. Even outside work, when I'm not enjoying time with family and friends, I'm always seeking to learn. I affectionately call this nerding out. I'm still waiting for a Nerd Out challenge to take hold on TikTok, but I digress. The values that our college stands for, I know you all possessed long before your arrival. It's what drew you here. I know that you're all destined for great things in various fields. I encourage you to always carry the values that you've developed here. Keep an open mind. Be open to hearing others' stories and to sharing your own. Remain empathic. Keep seeking to learn new things or build upon your existing knowledge. Nerd out, if you will. And of course, please stay connected with the Honors College, whether in person, by phone, or online. These personal and professional relationships will prove valuable as you pass on through life. So once again, class of 2023, congratulations and welcome to the UIC Honors College alumni family.
Thank you, Dr. Herard. Honors College class of 2023, congratulations. Families, thank you for supporting them. You've lived up to the promise that we saw in you when you arrived. You came to the Honors College with impressive records and ambitious dreams, and from orientation until now, we've harnessed your strengths and guided your choices, and sometimes prodded you to take every step necessary to get you here. Courses and seminars, advising and activities. For many of you, your capstone presentations just a few weeks ago in this building have all been steps toward being an Honors College graduate. We do this because our world needs the best possible teachers and doctors and nurses and lawyers, and the Honors College exists to prepare them. The world needs you at your best, no matter what your next destination is, because we continue to emerge from a moment in history that has in some way changed everyone's life. Over the last 3 years, you have taken classes on Blackboard, had appointments on Zoom, communicated via email because there was no dropping in during drop-in hours, and maintained your own work and the spirit of community here in the absence of the physical space that has been the necessary basis for such a community like ours to thrive. The emergence from those conditions has revealed the need for professionals in every field who can deal with the effects of long COVID, address inequalities in healthcare and education, and discern truth from falsehood in the public arena. This world needs graduates who have been through it, done their best, and been involved in their communities. Part of this return has been a recovery of your individuality. Maintaining your uniqueness was hard when you felt like a face on a screen or a name on a form, and it was only recently that we could see each other's faces in person without masks. The range of options in the form of available activities and commitments has expanded, each of which is a chance to ask yourself, is this something I can and want to do? Is this something I need to do because it's something I'm good at and it's a way of living out my values and purpose? Find that thing, several such things. Some of you heard way back in August 2019 that the Honors College is where you're going to discover that one little bit of work that only you can do. Go out now and take on that task that the world needs you to do. Honors College Class of 2023, congratulations. All of us will join me in wishing you all the best in the years ahead. I would now also like to take this opportunity in particular to thank the UIC staff members whose efforts made today's celebration possible. UIC staff members contribute in so many important ways to the function of our enormous and complex institution, and we owe them all our gratitude for their excellence. Thank you all, and the very best of luck to the UIC Honors College Class of 2023.
Again, congratulations to all of our graduates. Let's give our graduating students one final round of applause. At the conclusion of today's ceremony, the audience and graduates are asked to remain seated until the platform party and faculty have recessed. Then the graduates will recess. Please exercise caution when leaving the forum and parking areas this evening. In conclusion, congratulations to the graduates and to all of the family and friends on this memorable day. The Honors College Convocation is now adjourned. Banner carriers, please come forward and escort the platform party and faculty. Thank you.